Thank you and welcome to this review of the Darts Australia statistics tool. As you can see from the home page, the first choice you've got is you can go through and select an individual event just by clicking on the event. You will get to see a graph of the average male and female 3-dart average for the event. You can hover over it and you'll see the actual metric. So you get 54.39, 68, and then 180s there was 177. Scroll down, you see basically two tables, one male performances and the one below is female performances. It's currently showing 50 entries, but as you can see down here there's 63, so you can go next and see the other 13, or if you wish you can select show 100 and that will show all 63, which it's showing there, and there's the female performances there. Same thing occurs. What you'll also find is these little icons. If you hover over them with your mouse, you'll see that the gold one is champion, second place, anything with the number 3 is equal third, and of course equal fifth is number 5. So that's what those indicate. You can sort by any of the columns, so if you'd like to sort the list by 3-dart average, which is the default, you may want to sort by number of matches, so you can click on it twice and it will sort the table by number of matches. You may be interested in number of 180s thrown, and that will then filter sort in the order in the 180s, etc, etc. Legs win percentages, for example. So that's another way to look at that view. You can click on an individual person's name and go into their own statistics. As I've clicked on here, what you see here is there are 4 graphs that you can view per player, and also if you scroll down you can see the player's performance history with all the details you see on the previous screen, but broken down into the events. What you see on the very first graph is a representation of the player's 3-dart average, his opponent's 3-dart average, the legs win percentage, and the number of 180s. The number of 180s are represented by the bars starting at 0 going upwards. So if you hover over it, you get 2, 3, 8, 5. If you wish to hide any of the data, you simply just click on the headings. So I've hidden the 180s. I also don't really want to see the opponent 3-dart average. I can hide that. I can even hide the legs win. And of course, we can hide them all. And if we display the 180s, what you'll see is the graph dynamically updates. So then the value, the highest value of, he's thrown 8 180s in this championships. As you can see, it's now reflective of the actual values. So now if I want to bring in the 180s plus his 3-dart average, obviously that will adjust. So that's another way of viewing that graph. You can zoom in with the mouse scroll wheel. If you want to scroll in for, in case you've got a graph with a lot of information, you can scroll in, scroll out, and you can reset the zoom by just clicking on that button. The next graph is basically a breakdown of the player's 3-dart average in the tournament versus his opponent's 3-dart average. And these bars here, you look at starting at 0. If the bar goes upwards, then basically the player had a higher 3-dart average than his opponent. If it goes below the 0, it means that his opponents were actually stronger overall in their 3-dart average than this player was. So that particular event there, you can see in Bunbury that their opposition 3-dart average was 65 and this player's was 64. So it's a little bit of a drop, but that's how you read that graph. And again, if you're not interested, you can just hide things. Third one is a half-yearly trend, just to give you a sense of, let's just go to another player that has a lot more stats, maybe Ray. So if we go to the half yearly trend, you can see there, you can zoom in again on if you want to by the zoom wheel. You can decide to hide the opponent. Sorry, this is you can decide to hide 3-dot average and the legs win. Of course, it changes it, so you pick what you want to see. You can also export any of the graphs. So if you click on the export button, that'll export a picture, or I think it's a PNG file. Okay, and that PNG file will zoom in. It will be the representation of the graph as well as the data that represents the graph. Okay, and should have a heading at the top explaining what that is. So that's how you export the graphs. And the last few is detailed yearly trends. So this is broken down by year, and it's of course their minimum. So their lowest 3-dot average for the year, their maximum 3-dot average, obviously their average or the median 3-dot average. Okay, and then and that's represented here on those 3 different data lines. And then the year-on-year average is basically again what's starting from 0. If the player improved or declined in the coming year. So from 2021 to 2022, there was a slight decline. And then from 2022 to 2023, there was a slight improvement. And you can see the value there if you hover over. And any one of these markers, any one of these dots and data points, you can always hover over to get the exact value that you can see on the graph. Okay, so that's the 4 graphs from player. If you click on dashboard, that's just an overarching view of every single event that's in the database. The bar represents the average 3-dot average for the tournament, and then the blue dots, the blue line represents the male average, and then the female average is represented in red. That's all that does. Players, this is where you can search for a player's name simply by either looking up the player by the drop down and choosing. Okay, or if you go back, you can just type in a player's name. Okay, and then you get the choice of which player you want to choose. So that's that option. The compare is when you want to select or compare multiple players. For example, if I pick Latrell, and if I want to pick multiple players, I hold the control button down on the keyboard, and I can just click. So I might want to. I might want to. Where is it? Deshaun and Latrell. I've selected 2, and press compare, and that gives you a radar graph of the points, the 3-dot average, the opponent's 3-dot average, legs win percentage, legs, the first 9, the value, and then 180s. And basically what it is a representation. If I just hide Deshaun, you see Latrell's values. You can hover over them, 60.87, 55, and this is all aggregated values, and you can see the data values there listed. If I just hide that and go to, yeah, it's very similar, like they're very similar to this one, and basically it just gives you an overlapping view then of just, you can visually see then the difference, if you have the colors going over, so coming shorter there. So that's a comparison graph. If I scroll down, I also get to see the actual values if you want to just look at it from a value perspective, and you can also export the chart as well. Yearly stats, this allows you to simply just have a look at a combined view of all players in Darts Australia for the particular year and looking at their combined stats. So if I want to pick 2024, there's a list of 2024, and just like before, if you wanted to then sort by total matches in 2024, Danny had played 275 total matches. Number of 180s in 2024, Peter with 121. So that's how you use that, and you can choose the various years, And again, likewise down here for females, all the same applies to the female list down here below. So it, that's what the yearly stats does. And then the final is the state view. Now this is a aggregated view on events per state. So if I choose, I'm going to choose New South Wales last because I've got something to show. Let's go Queensland. Okay, so that's picking all Queensland events across all years, and then you can obviously do your sorting to see what kind of data you're looking for. You may want to hone in on a particular year, and you can just choose that year up here, and then you can have a look at the values per year. 38 by Jeremy in 2022 for events hosted in Queensland. That's how you've got to look at this one. Okay, and also this view allows you to, when you click on a player in this view, so we've filtered by Queensland in the year 2022. When I click on the player, only the data that's represented by the filters that you chose in the previous screen are represented on the graph and also in the data chart below. So as you can see, you can only see 2022 events, and you can only see events again hosted in Queensland. So it allows you to then further hone in on what data you're looking for. You can then use that same thing across all the different graphs, and you're only viewing again the Queensland 2022 data for that player. So if I clear it, this is how many events actually Jeremy has participated in. See, a lot more than just what you listed. But if I go back up here to the state view. Now, if we go to New South Wales, what you will notice is, as New South Wales is not on Dart Connect, so therefore the information I have received from New South Wales is from the official files, and therefore does not include all metrics. So it doesn't include the average finish, doesn't include, in some cases, it doesn't include your average, your opponent's 3-dart average. And also in some cases, in some events, you may not even see the 180s, so is slightly less than other states.